Welcome in. We expect the House to start procedural votes ahead of Trump's budget bill today, but we want to bring you updates and breaking news into our newsroom right now. We are talking about the Diddy trial. This is a trial against Sean Diddy Combs. The verdict is in his trafficking case. It was a mixed verdict from the jury. Combs was spared of the most serious charge, and that charge carried a sentence of life in prison. But we want to start with the ruling here. He was found not guilty of racketeering, not guilty on count 2 and 4, which were the sex trafficking charges, but he was found guilty on counts 3 and 5. Those were the transportation for the purposes of prostitution charges. So you're looking right now at a podium right outside the courthouse, right there. We expect lawyers for Combs to give a presser there any moment now. That news conference will bring it to you as soon as it begins. But right now we want to get to CBS News national correspondent Jericka Duncan to give us much more information about this ruling from the courtroom, the reaction from Combs, his family, those outside as well. Jericka, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us more about the ruling, and I know you're standing outside. Tell us about the reaction, too, that you got once that verdict officially came in.
This is a victory for Sean Combs and his family. Sean Combs put his hands up to the sky. He had his hands sort of clasped as though he was praying, according to those who were inside the courtroom, and kneeled down. He was very emotional. There was cheering inside of the courtroom once this verdict was read. The issue now is whether or not Sean Combs will be able to go home until sentencing. That is being worked out as we speak. The judge adjourned and said that they would be back at about 1 o'clock this afternoon Eastern time to figure out whether or not the sentencing would start sooner, or whether or not he will have an opportunity to go home until their sentencing for the 2 counts that he was convicted of, the Mann Act. Now, that involved star witness Cassie Ventura, someone that dated Combs for the 11 years. And then you had Jane. He was also found guilty on that Mann Act. That was also someone that he dated from 2021 to about 2024. But the family just left. I believe it was 6 of his 7 children that were in 2 sprinters. You see one right here behind me. We're not sure. Looks like this one is leaving. But I can tell you from even where I was standing, I could see that the children of Sean Combs had a smile on their face. They took their time getting into that sprinter. Normally, they are in, they are out, they do not make eye contact, they have no comment. But today is different, and it's different because their father is not facing up to life in prison. He's still facing significant time, a maximum of up to 20 years, because each count of the Mann Act has a maximum of 10 years. And the government saying they plan to pursue the maximum. But it is definitely something that we saw in that courtroom. Based on those who were in there, we could see that there was a weight lifted off of Sean Combs because he was facing very, very serious allegations and crimes, but again, only found guilty on 2 of those counts. The Mann Act, that is the transportation to engage in prostitution.
And Jericka, just yesterday, we know the jury, they came back with a partial verdict, and they were going to continue deliberating this morning. It seems very quickly into that deliberation process, they came up with their final verdict, right?
That's right. And, you know, one of my colleagues, Elaine Quijano, said there's a lot of social science behind people being a little bit sharper in the morning and being more decisive. And I never thought about that, but it makes sense when you're trying to analyze, you know, why not go later yesterday at the end of the day if you only had an hour or less of deliberating before you needed to make that decision. And I think many of us were wondering if, because that racketeering conspiracy charge, which was very broad and very complex, a lot of legal scholars would describe it that way, especially considering a case like this that had to do with a criminal enterprise, a group being formed, being led by Sean Combs for his sexual desires. But it was, you know, you never know what the jurors are thinking, and that's why you have to wait for the results. So we could have said, well, maybe it means this or maybe it means that. I have to be honest, I think a lot of people are a bit shocked by the outcome. Some saying that they thought, a number of people I spoke to thought for sure he might be found guilty of sex trafficking on Cassie Ventura. But again, that is not what the jurors found. 8 men and 4 women who listened to 34 witnesses over the course of 7 weeks, making that decision this morning after deliberating for less than an hour on this Wednesday morning.
Yes, and what's next for Combs here? I know obviously this verdict is a victory for him and his team, but there's a chance that he is going to spend time in prison. So what's next for him, and how does this affect his legacy?
Well, you know, it will be interesting to see if he will. He didn't have a previous record, if you will. I believe the minimum is it could be probation on a Mann Act. So you're going to have to look at statutes. There's time served since he's been in the MDC since September of 2024. So I don't know what kind of time he is facing, but I think this is the best possible outcome that the defense could have asked for. Obviously, I'm sure they would have thought maybe not guilty on all of the counts, but they realized the serious nature of what their client was facing. The next step really is this 1 o'clock hearing where the judge will determine whether or not Sean Combs gets to go home free until his official sentencing, or whether they'll make that determination today.
All right, Jericka Duncan in New York for us. Very busy out there in the courthouse, as we would expect. Thank you so much for your reporting today.
Yes, thank you.